Out in Carnes County, Texas, on mile marker 68 of Interstate 37, you don't drive alone after midnight. That's what an old truck driver told me. His name was Hank, and he said he's never been able to forget what he saw that night. August 12th, 1998. It was just about 1 a.m. Hank was hauling freight from San Antonio down to Corpus Christi. The air was dry, the sky was full of stars, but as he rounded that curve, a man stepped into his headlights. The man was completely soaked, water dripping from his clothes, like he'd just climbed out of a lake. But there's no lake out there, and it hadn't rained all week. Hank slammed the brakes, the cab filled with the screech of metal on metal. The man didn't move, his head tilted, eyes locked on the headlights. Hank rolled his window down halfway and yelled, "You all right, buddy?" No answer. The man just slowly raised a trembling finger and pointed down off the side of the road. When Hank turned his eyes that way, his headlights caught an old Chevy Impala, doors hanging open, windows smashed, and slumped over the steering wheel was the motionless head of a woman. Hank froze in place, but when he turned back toward the man, he was gone. The next morning, police investigated. The woman in the car had been missing since 1975, and the soaked man matched the exact description of someone who had drowned in that same spot 25 years earlier. Even today, drivers on Interstate 37 swear they've seen a dripping wet man standing there, pointing down the slope. And some say, when they look in their rear view mirror, that finger is pointed right at them. Here's a house on Bell Creek Road in rural Texas, a place the locals drive past without ever looking. The property has been empty for almost 30 years. The last family to live there left in the middle of the night, abandoning everything inside, furniture, clothes, even food still on the table. No one ever came back, and no one has stayed long enough to explain why. Neighbors say you can see movement through the upstairs windows, even when the glass is coated with dust so thick you could write your name in it. Sometimes at night, there's a faint orange glow in one of the rooms. Not electric light, but a dull, flickering firelight. The mailman refuses to stop there. Teenagers dare each other to touch the front door, but no one dares to go inside. Last September, the county sent a property inspector named Mark Hanley to assess the house for auction. 20 years in the job, and nothing had ever made him leave a site before his work was done. He arrived at 4:15 in the afternoon. The air was still, no wind, no birds. The yard was overgrown, weeds curling up the porch steps. The paint had peeled away, exposing the gray wood beneath. The front door was unlocked. Inside, the air was damp, faintly smelling of mold. But it wasn't the smell that stopped him. It was the sound. Somewhere upstairs, slow, deliberate footsteps. He called out. No answer. The footsteps stopped. He climbed the stairs, each step groaning under his boots. The hallway above was lined with doors, all slightly open. At the far end, the last door on the right moved, just a fraction. When he pushed it open, the room was empty, dust in the air, but in the carpet, footprints, small, bare, and damp. From under the next door down the hall, a faint orange light spilled across the floorboards. When he opened it, he found a child's bedroom. Wallpaper faded, toys scattered. In the far corner, facing the wall, a small wooden chair. The light came from behind it. No lamp, no candle, just that dull, flickering glow. Mark stepped closer, and the chair turned, slow, deliberate. In it, a little boy, skin pale, waterlogged, eyes wide, but empty. His mouth hung open, and from it, the orange glow poured out, casting light across his chin. Mark stumbled back. Every door in the hallway now stood wide open. The air had turned cold. From every room came the sound of breathing, not in unison, some fast, some slow, but all human. He ran, hit the front steps, did not stop until he reached the road. From there, he looked up. The boy was at the window now, still watching. The orange glow inside flared bright enough to light the whole house, then blinked out. The county never auctioned the house. The file was marked uninhabitable, unsafe structure. But neighbors say, on still nights, if you pass by slow enough, you'll see the upstairs lights come on. And if you stop for too long, you might see a figure in the window, small, still, and glowing faintly orange, always watching, always waiting for someone to come inside again. "15 miles outside of Amarillo, Texas, there's a dirt road most people won't drive after dark. At the end of that road sits the hollow farm. From a distance, it looks like every other weather-beaten ranch in the Panhandle. 2-story farmhouse, a collapsing barn, and a pair of dead cottonwood trees leaning over the drive. But up close, the place feels wrong. The air seems heavier. The wind doesn't move the grass the same way it does anywhere else. The land has been in county records since 1904. 3 different families owned it, all left in the same way, suddenly, in the middle of the night, leaving possessions behind. Furniture still set for dinner, beds unmade but warm, livestock left unfed, wandering the fields until neighbors took them in. The last family, the Harpers, vanished in 1978. A neighbor found their truck in the drive, headlights still on, driver's door wide open. The house was unlocked, but every mirror inside had been taken down and stacked face to wall in the barn. The sheriff's report mentioned a persistent low noise in the house, a kind of droning hum that seemed to come from under the floorboards. No one's lived there since. In August of last year, the county ordered an inspection before auctioning the property. 2 inspectors were sent, a man named Douglas Shaw and his assistant, Linda Carter. They arrived just before sunset. The drive was choked with weeds, tall enough to scrape the underside of their truck. The farmhouse windows reflected the fading light, but only the lower ones. The second floor stayed dark, even as the sun hit it directly. Inside, the air was stale, thick with dust drifting in visible swirls. The walls, covered in old peeling floral wallpaper. The smell was faintly sweet, like overripe fruit, but underneath, something else, a sharper scent, metallic, like wet iron. Douglas took the first floor. Linda climbed the stairs. She called down 5 minutes later, saying the bedrooms were strange. All the furniture pushed to the center of the rooms, leaving bare tracks where they'd been dragged. And in every room, the closet doors stood wide open. Douglas opened the cellar door and was hit with a rush of cold air. It carried that same metallic scent, stronger now. The bulb at the top of the stairs flickered, but didn't go out. As he descended, he saw the concrete floor was damp, though there were no leaks. In the far corner sat a single wooden chair facing the wall. Above it, long scratch marks ran upward toward the ceiling. Linda's voice called again, sharper this time. She'd seen light moving outside one of the upper windows, not from the road, but from somewhere inside the yard. From the landing, they saw the barn through the dusty glass. Its doors, shut when they arrived, now stood half open, Inside, faint orange light swayed, like someone walking with a lantern. They crossed the yard. The barn smelled of hay and something damp, and there, against the wall, were the mirrors, stacked just as the sheriff's report had said, surfaces hidden. Linda's flashlight passed over one that wasn't fully covered. In the strip of exposed glass, she saw movement, not theirs, something tall, thin, standing behind her in the reflection, its head tilted slightly. When she turned, the space was empty. They left the barn, locked the doors, and walked toward the truck. But the headlights were already on. Neither of them had the keys in hand. Douglas looked up at the house. In the second-floor window, where the glass had been dark before, a figure now stood, pale, face indistinct, moving with a slow, deliberate swaying, as though standing in a shallow current. Linda started the engine. As they backed down the drive, the figure stepped closer to the glass, and for a second, the entire pane shimmered as if it were water rippling outward. The county never completed the auction. The file reads, property withdrawn, structural concerns. Unofficially, Douglas still hears that hum sometimes when he's trying to sleep. Linda moved out of the county 2 months later. Locals say if you drive past the dirt road at night, you might see the upstairs window lit from within. And if you stop and watch too long, you'll catch the shimmer of water in the glass. And when you do, you'll see a shape move toward it and realize it's watching you from the other side.